Well. Kevin and Zach React is not dead. We return. We have risen for a great Baltimore Ravens victory. This is Kevin and Zach React. I am Kevin Ostriker. We're here to react to the Ravens 41-38. Little small win versus the Bengals. Nothing really too crazy happened in this one, right? It wasn't really that eventful. Not a lot happened. Just the game of the year. Nothing crazy, right? Man, just the game ended a couple hours ago, and the heart is still certainly pounding for me as a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of craziness, and the Ravens win the game. They moved to 3-2, put the Bengals in a 1-4 hole, and go and get the job done. Lamar Jackson goes and gets the job done. So obviously, for those who don't know, I went live on Locked On Ravens right after the game and did about a 35-minute instant reaction there. Obviously, I have some other stuff to do. Zach, I'm not sure where he is. You told me to send him a link. It's possible he hops on. It's also possible this is just a solo show for me, and we just kind of vibe out here together on Locked On Ravens. But you know what? Either way, we're going to have some fun here today on Kevin and Zach React. So it's so crazy. So unbelievably crazy that the Ravens were able to pull this game out. Seemed like they were kind of dead to rights a couple times in this one. The Bengals offense couldn't stop scoring. The Baltimore defense couldn't stop giving up points. And, in the postgame we heard Tyler Linderbaum was just telling the defense, the whole time, man, just go out there and get us one stop. One stop, we'll go win the game. And that's exactly what the Ravens did in this one. A Spirit Bomb, I hear you. This 3 wins in a row count as a sweep. What I'll do, okay, here's what we'll do for sweeps. We're going to just do it with AFC North teams this year. And if the Ravens can win both their games against said team, I will do the spicy ramen, whatever level we are on. So 1-0 against the Bengals. 1-0 against the Bengals. So if they're 2-0, I forget when their last is their last game of the season against the Bengals. I can't remember when they play the Bengals next. Let's see. Let's do some quick research together here. No, their next game against the Bengals is November 7th. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the Thursday night game. Duh. So if they win that Thursday night game, I will do the spicy ramen. So there we go. Huge win. Lamar Jackson goes absolutely crazy in this one. 26 of 42, 348 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. This was, if you like offense, this game had everything for you. Terrible defensive play all across the board for both teams. The difference was the Ravens defense stepped up late and the Bengals defense didn't. I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but it felt like every time an offense got the ball, they were going to score. I don't care whose it was. Baltimore, Cincinnati, both those teams just terrible defensive play. But let's start with Lamar. Lamar's a player that has had so many magical moments over the course of his career. And, I think this is up there. When we look back on, when I said this on Locked On Ravens, when we look back on Lamar and his career and what he was able to do, we're going to be playing this game as one of the forefronts of this is who Lamar Jackson was. Someone who could put on the Superman cape and will his team to victory. Unlike any other quarterback I've ever seen, he does it in such a unique way. I'm not saying Lamar's the best quarterback to ever play the game ever, but the way that he wins games, he can do it with his legs, he can do it with his arm. There's that outdated and honestly was false in the beginning narrative that the Ravens can't win when they're playing from behind and Lamar can't will that team to a win. Well, I'm very curious because if we remember last week on those talk shows, we were hearing a lot of, Buffalo's not good. The Ravens didn't do enough. It was just Buffalo was bad. There should be none of that. There should be no Lamar Jackson slander in any way, shape, or form this upcoming week. I don't know what you would say. He missed on a couple throws. Sure, he wasn't perfect. Bobbled the snap. Yeah, that was a big blunder. But the Ravens lose this game probably by 20-plus points if they don't have Lamar Jackson. That's just a fact. It's just a fact because every time the Bengals offense scored, The Ravens defense was in shambles. Lamar Jackson kept them close. It kept, instead of it going from 3 to 10 to 17 to 24, you like that math, by the way? That's quick math by me. But instead of that happening, it was 3 to 10 to 3 to 10 to 3 to 10 to 3. It never got above 10 points. And so you're thinking, if the Bengals hold the Ravens and they stop them, this could get ugly. Because the way that the Ravens defense was playing, the Bengals were getting anything they want. But Steve, man, I hear you. I called it on Locked On Ravens and on Twitter and social media, the best play of Lamar's career. There are a lot of moments of Lamar's career that you could point to for that, right? I mean, you can talk about the other Bengals highlight, the he is Houdini spin move, the likely play in the Jacksonville game last season, so many of them. But in the context of this game, actually now I'm actually forgetting a little bit about let me see if I can find the highlight quickly, because I actually need to confirm. Where are we? Look at this. We're doing live research here. Second. Okay, it was second down. Second down. I thought it was third down. It was second down. But regardless, in that moment, things could have gone wrong. Lamar could have just picked the ball up, panicked, throw the ball away, 3rd and goal. Maybe they settle for a field goal on that drive. Who knows? Sheesh, man. Lamar picks up the ball, stiff arms Sam Hubbard like 3 times, runs out, and just absolutely delivers a strike. A strike. I mean, the ball floats in the air on Geno Stone. Geno Stone, by the way, was awful. The whole Bengals defense was awful, but Geno particularly was playing for the Ravens. Essentially, I tweeted that out. He's playing for the Ravens today. He was that bad. Multiple miscommunications, multiple plays where he didn't tackle, multiple plays where he bit on fakes, got hurdled by Lamar. Geno was poor, and the whole Bengals defense was poor. But, he goes into that mode, Lamar does. And you could tell, here's when I could tell Lamar was in that mode. It was later in the game. Ravens were trying to drive down the field. And Trey Hendrickson gets some pressure on Lamar, literally only touches his shoulder pad. Literally, just, graze it. Trey wasn't going to get him down, just touches his shoulder pad. And Lamar went into a mode. The second he felt contact, he was gone. He was gone. He was not risking anything. The second he felt anything on him, he was taking off through the green grass. That's just who Lamar is. He can win the game in so many different ways. Right? He can win the game in so many different ways. And actually now I'm seeing that Marlon Humphrey is live on Instagram. So I'm gonna have to catch some of these clips and see if Marlon's talking crazy on the Instagram live. We're gonna have to see what that looks like. But apparently, by the way, Marlon left the game in a boot. So that's not great, but he's live, so I don't necessarily know. Also, Zach, for the record, I want to put on record right now, Zach Bollinger tweet from 2 minutes ago. Absolutely just ducking me on this live stream right now. Just it's just disappointing, man. I don't know. Just disappointing. Zach Bollinger. Everybody go comment on Zach's tweet from 3 minutes ago. It's about the Johnny thing. Quote tweeted. He said, "Run from it, hide from it, but destiny all arrives the same." I am sending our reactors to Zach Bollinger's Twitter. Go comment under Zach's tweet and ask him where he is. Because that is just, man. Yeah, that's right, Joe. He's done. Get him out of here. I'm the HR department here. I have the call. Man. Crazy. Oh, Quantum, welcome in. Was there anything, can you report, is there anything crazy that's going on Marlon's Live, or just some celebration? Obviously, I'm not watching it because I'm here, but if anything crazy happens. Oh, yeah. I love this. Keep going. Everybody keep going to Zach's tweet. I already see 3 comments on it. Keep going to Zach's tweet. If he pops on here, I will credit it to everybody watching, to the reactors for getting him on here. And I see quantum normal Marlowe shenanigans. Oh, apparently, all right. Hamilton was watching film. Oh, but he does have the comments off. Interesting. Honestly, I don't. If here's my hot take on this, not really a hot take. If he had comments on, it wouldn't be bad comments. Like, I feel like after the interception, maybe because of the secondary play, he'd get some flack. But it wasn't like Marlon had a couple of bad plays, couple of bad miscommunications. I'm not trying to excuse him from that. But I feel like with the interception and the win, people would be more so celebrating. If it was a loss, first of all, he wouldn't be going on live. But if it was a loss, I'd understand. Yeah. Comments we got 7 of them. Keep going on Zach's tweet. We got 7 of them. But in the meantime, while Zach is not here, let's keep diving into the game. By the way, a developing story, and this is probably something I don't know if I'm going to make it the headline of my show tomorrow, but I'm certainly going to talk about it, is Zay Flowers on Instagram after the game shared a picture, a couple of pictures, but he shared a video at the end of it. Apparently, a woman in Cincinnati last night was approached them at dinner, put her arm around Lamar and was talking crazy, saying, "Oh, Bengals are gonna beat your ass tomorrow," And I don't know if it was Zay Flowers or somebody. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, talk your shit, grandma. Like, go talk your shit." And Lamar kept saying, it's her fault. It's her fault about what was going to happen today. And Lamar sent her and the rest of Cincinnati home sad. So if you haven't seen the video, it's on Zay's Instagram. I've reposted it on Twitter because someone put it out. And just, man, crazy how that happens. And yep, spirit bomb. Lamar was like, and that's all I need to take it personally. Yep. And I took that personal. That's exactly what it was. Man, what a game. This could be very different right now, especially because, we can talk about this too. John Harbaugh gifted the Bengals 8 points at the end of the first half, right? Harbaugh admitted he himself was in a dark place a couple of times in this game, but just inexcusable first half clock management at the end of this one. This game didn't have to be this close. This game didn't have to be that way. Ravens could have gotten out of here with a win in easier fashion. But late in the first half, the Ravens can't decide if they want to go for it in terms of try to get points or just nail the clock out. And he decides to let the clock run, takes 40 seconds off without calling a timeout, and then they convert, and then they don't convert again, and then John Harbaugh calls a timeout for Cincinnati. Cincinnati played scared this entire game. Zach Taylor, his post-game answers were a disgrace. His coaching was a disgrace in this game. Zach Taylor, I've been out on Zach Taylor for a couple of years now, so this is not new. I'm not kind of hopping on this bandwagon. But again, just poor coaching all the way around in this game in multiple different fronts, right? Again, you got to give Harbaugh credit because the team won and he kind of rallied his team and did his thing. But again, we're going to call out criticism and say, give him criticism where it's due. You cannot allow Cincinnati, you can't help them. John Harbaugh helped Zach Taylor because they weren't, the reason Cincinnati didn't call timeout was because they wanted to go to halftime. They were scared. They didn't want to try to score points. They didn't want to have a turnover that would have cost them points. And then at the end of the game with McPherson, you run the ball 3 times. It's dumb coaching, just dumb coaching. So, Harbaugh helps out Cincinnati. Zach Taylor helps the Ravens out right back. And, it's too many of those moments for John Harbaugh because I personally don't think the Bengals are a competent team this season. They just haven't looked it. Terrible loss to the Patriots. The defense is atrocious. Joe Burrow has looked good this season for the most part. Jamar is awesome. T. Higgins is awesome. Those 3, I think those 3 are great. But outside of those 3, and Orlando Brown Jr. has been playing well this year, although he had 2 big penalties. The Bengals just aren't good. So a better team will punish you more for that. Cincinnati punished them for the first half thing. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. And, yeah, just a bit outside. It does say he's live on X. We have this hooked up to Zach's Twitter. So I put it on his Twitter. We just put it on his Twitter for every game, regardless of if it's me or him. So I hooked it up to his Twitter for this one. So he is not here, but his Twitter is live. So I essentially have control over Zach's Twitter right now. And I don't know. I can say all this crazy stuff and it would all go on Zach's Twitter. So we can see. But yeah, dilly missed face mask call. The refereeing in this game was not wonderful both ways. Like Cincinnati had calls that went against them that weren't good. Nate Wiggins had a PI, which he kind of tugged on the inside of the jersey a little bit, which, textbook is PI. Wasn't enough for them to call it, but textbook was PI. There were some push-offs on Jamar, some weak roughing the passer call on Matabike on that touchdown, but that doesn't really matter. But the face mask call was huge. That was huge. Because at the end of the day, that's a critical drive of the game. Tacks on an extra 15 yards. The Ravens don't get the conversion, so they have to kick the field goal. That gives the Ravens 15 yards in the way. Again, credit to Cincinnati for stopping the Ravens on third down. One of the few third down stops they had. But that face mask call does probably give the Ravens, obviously, either a much better shot at a field goal, but gives them a much better shot at a win. And that's the most important part. So, yeah, blatant. Absolutely blatant. The helmet, you could see, it was textbook, right? He grabbed the face mask, twisted it. You could see the helmet move, but it's not a natural movement. Even if you're watching the play, if you're a ref from behind, it's not a natural movement for a player. If his body is moving one way, for his head, if there is an arm up, to just kind of go like this, right? You're not going to hook yourself that way. It's very hard to flop a face mask call. Like, you can do it, but it'd have to be near perfect. It's very hard to fake that. Guys don't want their heads being turned like that. Like, that's a violent movement, has neck implications, and, obviously doesn't feel good on the face either. The helmet's twisting on your face and everything. So I don't know. That was rough. That was rough. The Ravens don't really use Derrick Henry a ton in this game either. The big thing with that, though, is that he was fresh for overtime because the Ravens are on a negative game script for the majority of the game, especially in the second half. And in that, Justice Hill, who is effectively their third down back, he was the guy, right? He was the guy. So, in my opinion, you don't want to be in that situation. But the narrative of, they need to be ahead and use Derrick Henry in order to win games if you're the Ravens, the Ravens are a much more complex team than that. The Ravens are not as simple as just get ahead and you win. That's not how this works, especially when Lamar had the game that he did. He certainly missed a couple of throws, particularly early, and the fumble on the snap was not good. But he did enough. He did enough. And Spirit Bomb, this is a good point. 9 different receivers had a reception today for the Ravens. Lamar spreading that wealth. I love it. Because, again, the game plan for Lamar over the past 5-6 years, for the most part, has been, hey, man, Mark is down there somewhere. Let's just chuck that thing up and see what happens, right? But this season, it's been a lot more of taking what's there, spreading the ball around, and obviously Mark's receiving numbers have suffered from that. And, hey, Mark Andrews, welcome to the party, by the way. Welcome to the party, Mark Andrews. But you see guys like Charlie Kohler, who played awesome in this game. Rashad Bateman, I thought, was incredible. Obviously, Zay with over 100 yards. He was dominant and just working through these players on the sense. And actually, I couldn't find out on Locked On Ravens, but Dax Hill, Zay Flowers might have ended his season. I don't know if Zach Taylor had an injury update on him. Yeah, all right. Zach Taylor did not have an update, but he was ruled out quickly with a knee injury. So prayers to Dax Hill. Hopefully his recovery is speedy. But Zay's just a menace, man. He runs crisp routes. Rashad runs crisp routes. When these guys are on and you put them in one-on-one situations, it's so hard to stop this team. It's so hard to stop this offense. And it was going back and forth, right? These teams are going back and forth. Classic AFC North game, not necessarily Baltimore-Pittsburgh classic, where those games are always like 15-9, like some random low-scoring game. But, this was a shootout. And in years past, sometimes, especially when the Ravens didn't have Lamar, it was hard to keep up with them. But with Lamar, with Derrick Henry, it's just a different team. It's a different offense. And you absolutely love to see them be able to do that. So, yeah, it was impressive, 100%. Let's talk defense. Let me pull up the defensive stats quickly before I talk. Oh, actually, I don't even need to talk about them. I don't even need to. You know why? Credit to you. credit to the reactors. We sent an army, and we pulled him out of the depths of wherever he was. I know actually where he was, but we got him. We got him. Look at that.
From the streets of Huntington, West Virginia.
Yep.
What is up, everyone?
Yeah. Did you like my message? I told everybody to get it on your tweet and tell you where.
Yeah, I was like sitting there and I was like, all of a sudden all these notifications kept coming. I was like, what is
I said comment on Zach's tweet until he hops in here.
Yeah, I was getting all these like
because you tweeted and I said, wow, he's just ducking me. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is, Kevin. That's exactly what I was doing. Just like Kevin today, it felt like defenses on both sides were ducking anyone with the ball on offense. Wowzers. If you like points, this was probably your favorite game of all time. I'm not gonna lie, Kevin. Everyone keeps calling it. Maybe it's because we had a dog in the race. You know, I'm seeing all these like, oh, game of the year. You know, this, that. Also, real fast, do want to bring up, I know, still sore subject, sore topic. The Mets just hit a 2-run game-tying home run in the 9th again, and it's
was it
just
Alonso?
No, it's Vientos, Mark Vientos. So the Mets might be a team of destiny. They might be, but man. Let's go back real fast to the game. This was a brutal one for defenses. I mean, obviously, you know, like I was just saying, I've seen game of the year being talked about a few times, you know, getting thrown out there. But for me, man, that was just stressful because every time they had the ball, I was like, well, they're scoring. Well, here comes hope. Maybe from our perspective, wasn't as fun watching the Bengals dog walk the defense a few times, but they found a way to get the win, and that's all that matters.
I just felt like every time an offense was on the field, there were going to be points. Like it didn't matter. Just any time. But despite how bad the Ravens defense was, the Bengals defense was worse. The Bengals defense was worse. And part of that, Zach, don't you just love feel-good stories? Don't you love Geno Stone playing for the Ravens today?
Gosh.
Don't you love feel-good stories like that?
That between that and Patrick Queen, I don't think the Ravens are really upset about the two guys that they let walk this offseason.
No, Geno's a good dude, man. It's just a really bad game. And he's had a very bad season for Cincinnati. You know, miscommunications, poor tackling. He gets hurdled by Lamar. He might have clipped his shoe. Didn't really make any contact on him. Bit on a play fake super poorly that left Bateman wide open, or maybe it was Andrews. Man, it's just like I talked about this on Locked On Ravens. It's just like, who on that defense scares you? I mean, Trey Hendrickson is a beast. But other than that, it's like Cam Taylor-Britt's a nice young cornerback. Logan Wilson is, you know, despite he's obviously an enemy in Baltimore, but like he is a good player. But it's really like Trey Hendrickson as the star. Cam Taylor-Britt and Logan Wilson are pretty good players. But other than that, there's no one on that defense you fear. And their defense is going to be an issue all year long. But the thing that I love the most, Zach, is that Lamar took advantage of it. And I said earlier on the stream, it's like this game could have gotten out of hand pretty fast if Lamar didn't keep responding the way he did. Because instead of it going from 3 to 10 to 17 to 24 without the offense responding, they were always within 10. They were always within 10. Went from 3 to 10 to 3 to 10 to 3 to 10 to 3. Like it never felt like they were truly out of it because Lamar was able to will this team. He wasn't perfect. He missed a couple throws early, had the bot snap at the end, which Cincinnati, Zach, I mean, for the John Harbaugh debacle at the end of the first half, Zach Taylor with some disgraceful coaching at the end. 3 straight runs. I could not believe my eyes. They get, I think, literally not a single yard on any of those plays.
Yeah, I think they gained, like, it was like they lost a yard, they gained 2, and then they lost a yard. So it was literally just unreal. That was I mean, listen, let's call it what it is. If that holder the holder doesn't mess up and he hits that kick, no one's saying anything. That's the reality of it. If the holder just makes that play, yeah, I think there's still a question here or there, but it's more just like okay, would have liked us to be more aggressive and move on thing. The miss glorifies it. It really does make it bigger than. I don't want to say bigger than it is because it's a game deciding decision. So yeah, it was a massive, especially when you're sitting there at 1-3. Now you're 1-4. You had been dog walking the Ravens secondary. The one miscue being really the Marlon Humphrey play. And talk about a guy that, man, maybe, I don't know, maybe he and Jack Selman got to start going to 2 episodes a week because the guy has been guy's been killing it recently.
Yeah. Couple of poor plays by him, but look, biggest play of the game, especially because the offense, as we heard post game, kept saying, "Hey man, just get one stop, we'll go win the game. One stop," and they ended up doing it. And I mean, Zach Taylor was coaching scared, and I hear what you're saying, man. Like I agree with you.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the first half, the Bengals were playing scared then because they didn't want to go for the points. The Ravens saved them. John Harbaugh saved them by calling that timeout. They weren't going to call timeout. They were just going to let the clock kind of run down, go into halftime, get the ball back in the second half. It's 14-9, go take the lead. But John Harbaugh called the timeout. They gave the Bengals the ball back. And then at that point, Zach Taylor was like, oh, hey, this might work out. 3 timeouts. Let's go down there and let's try to score. So, man, Lamar puts on the Superman cape again. I wanted so badly, Zach, for Kevin Harlan on that crazy play to say Houdini something. Houdini. I would have loved it. I said it. I want to ask you, was that the best play of Lamar's career?
I'm not sure, but I cannot tell you how euphoric and gratifying it is that he did that almost identically the exact same thing that they were all posting of Josh Allen last week, saying Josh Allen's the only quarterback in the league that makes that play. And then Lamar literally just did the exact same thing, but then threw it for a touchdown. But then let's also take into account that he fumbled the snap at first. Like, it's not like, he just like, he's literally on the ground reaching like, Velma, where are my glasses? Like, this is full on, like, this is panic. There is no like, this is a design, run out for Lamar. Shit just hit the fan from the second that snap happened and Lamar Jackson turned it into a touchdown. I know I just gave people shit about saying, Josh Allen's the only one who can make those plays. I'll say one thing. Lamar Jackson's the only one who gets a touchdown on that play. Like, there's no other quarterback. You can't convince me another quarterback. One just has the guts. 90% of quarterbacks, you fumble that thing, they just fall on top of it and take the 3 points. They're just like, okay, whatever. Live to see another down type thing. Lamar tries to grab it twice, and he's like, okay, I got to go win this thing. Like, there was no guys in his face. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm not throwing this away. I was yelling at him to throw it away. I was like, throw it out of bounds. I was like, throw it out of bounds.
Yeah. I don't even know. We've seen it so many times. But here's the other funny part. Talking about like picking up the ball and running. Jermaine Pratt picked up the fumble and ran it down into where the Bengals felt comfortable in field goal range. Essentially saying, oh yeah, well now we feel comfortable enough with McPherson to go do it. Where if that wasn't the case, maybe they have to throw the ball. Maybe they have to do that. And against the secondary,
they throw the ball and they get it for 20 yards.
Yeah. So, man, you see what was it, like a defensive lineman whiffed, Pratt picks it up and runs it. So, blessing in disguise for the Ravens, I guess. Didn't look like a blessing at the time. But,
Kevin, can we talk about that real quick? I was so distraught by the fact that when that happened, and I put out, that's a wild, only the Ravens lose in these ways. Aged like fine damn wine, by the way, that take. It felt like how do the Ravens do this? And then the biggest thing was, all I could think about is Lamar Jackson threw on the Superman cape for 4 quarters, and all that people are going to talk about is Lamar blew it because he fumbled that snap.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been insufferable. Absolutely insufferable. I mean, I'm still like at a loss for words. Like, I've been talking about it forever, and I'm just like, what did we just watch?
Yeah,
Like,
Kevin, we're Kevin and Zach react, and I have to hop off here in a few minutes because don't ask how I did this again. But my phone's on 5%. Don't ask, Kevin.
oh, hey, at least it's not on 3%. That's
So
progress.
but I wanted to talk about this. This win was so massive because it's the difference between us sitting 3-2 and the Bengals 1-4, and both of us sitting at 2-3. So now, Kevin, I'm gonna let's rip the Band-Aid off. Did the Ravens just put the final nail in the Bengals season's coffin? I mean, it's hard to rebound from 1-4.
Yeah, I would say all but. Like, obviously, season's not over, but
Yeah.
I don't see them going anywhere with that defense. Like, their defense is terrible. And, if you talk about next year, like, they're probably going to lose T. Higgins. I don't think Cincinnati wants to pay him. So, it's like, how can they improve their defense by the time, we get to week 8, week 9? Like, is there anybody coming back? And, like, is Sheldon Rankins going to solve their defense? Like, they don't have anybody coming back. They're depleted. And I mean, again, like, anything can happen. Like, I'm not like counting anybody out, but 1-4 is really tough. Like, I'd be shocked if they made the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm getting cooked in the chat for saying these are my street cats. By my street cats, I mean how do I
flip the camera around?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the one. Been vibing.
Oh, the cat distribution system. You gonna take them home?
Yeah, no, they actually both sit on the.
Oh, there are 3. There's 3.
No. Oh shit!
You didn't even see that one.
Where's that one then?
There are 3 of them.
Yeah. That. Damn.
It's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. So there's 3 cats. 3. All right. That kind of threw me off. I'm not gonna lie. When you were like, "Oh, there's a 3rd," I was like, "Where?"
Yeah, you're like, what?
I'm getting cooked in the chat for saying my phone's about to die. We're on 4% though, so it's kind of moving slow.
Yeah, well, it's not real until it gets to 3. It's not real until it gets to 3.
Once it starts getting slow at like 2%.
Yeah, that's when you know. That's when you know.
Another thing I want to talk about is, you just talked about with the Bengals defense. Joe Burrow talked about how he had to play perfect. Joe Burrow, we talked about the one interception probably being the only flaw. That was the only flaw. I mean, Joe Burrow was dominant today. There was nothing that the Ravens offense, and I'll link in Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. There was nothing the Ravens defense could do to stop those guys. That's what makes them running the ball so mind-boggling, like, in those final moments in overtime, because it's like they had their way. Even just throw 2-3 screen passes to Jamar in space and you're probably getting at least a first down.
It was slants after slants after slants after slants after little deep ball action, then slants again. Like, the Ravens were sending pressure, and Joe Burrow was like, I'm the one that did it for me. It was a short gain, but Joe Burrow threw the ball at the back of T. Higgins' head, and T turned around because he knew it was pressure coming. You take 5 steps, break in, turn around, and the ball was right there for him to catch. They were getting killed on that all game. And again, it's kind of ironic because the play that Marlon intercepted was on a slant. So they played it well, and good things happened. But yeah, man, quarterback, battle. And one of these classic games. Like, we're gonna look back on this game forever for the Ravens.
Yeah, that's why I said, like, when you look at the stat line, like Joe Burrow versus Lamar Jackson, we talk about the Ravens record, Joe Burrow's record versus the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's record versus the Bengals, and they're both somehow lopsided because of they kept playing injured teams, injured counterparts. When those two are both healthy on that field together, it's must-see television every single time. That was 60 minutes of some of the best. Like I said, in real time, I did not feel like it because of, it was more like, wow, our defense can't stop anything. If that would have been a Sunday night, if that would have been a primetime game, it would be getting declared the greatest. This would be up there, I'm telling you, with Patrick Mahomes versus Jared Goff at like it was getting to that level of good.
And that is exactly why these two teams are playing on Thursday night in a couple of weeks, about a month from tomorrow, November 7th, month from tomorrow. The Ravens will be playing on Thursday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals in Baltimore. The purple out. That's when we'll see the helmets, the purple helmets, which will be so sick.
I'm so worried about those, Kevin.
Why?
I don't like them.
You don't like them?
It's the logo. It doesn't feel centered to me.
Wow. That was not the criticism I was expecting. The logo doesn't feel all right. Now we have to.
That's what sucks. Is like if they would use the regular logo, it's because it's like a regular. Like they have to place it a little bit further ahead or whatever, so it just doesn't look centered.
So it's not peeling on the back.
Yeah, like if they would have used the normal logos on the side with like the thing on the purple, it would have looked sick. But
okay, I see what you're saying, because there's the helmet strap that would cover it if they
like that.
And then it'll
that
wrap
is my
around.
only complaint.
So I get if they moved it back like an inch. Or
like that is my only complaint about those. I felt like they were borderline perfect except for that.
Okay, all right, okay, I understand. Because I was just kind of like, dang, man, what they have no, like, it's not like the city connects where it's like, it's not like whatever they wear them, they lose, they haven't worn them yet.
Yeah, so, no, I just it's the one thing, because I'm like, they almost nailed it and they were so close.
Yeah, that's all right though. That'll be absolute cinema.
And I'm seeing Dilly saying I don't like the gold face mask. Well, maybe the face mask will be more prominent and we can start getting calls when it's ripped on.
Yeah, exactly. Concern level on Marcus Williams?
Pretty high. I mean, it's just not great football right now.
Yep.
And then best ability is availability. And when he's not on the, it feels like he's always dealing with something. Feels like he's just not been that player that they signed him to be. As simple as that. So that really sucks. But
yeah,
I mean, here's the other thing. It can't be easy to feel like you're doing well. It can't feel great. And I don't know really the word. I guess it's hard to feel like you are this top player when I'm watching you every single play next to Kyle Hamilton, who just makes me fall in love with the game of football every time I watch him do something. So like, it's a little unfair that he is literally next to one, like these generational type hybrid players where you see every other day. I mean, the Kyle Hamilton sack today, I think you even tweeted it out. It's like, there's nothing better than a Kyle Hamilton sack.
Never gets old.
Never gets old.
Man, it never gets old watching the Ravens win games like these. Don't take it for granted, everybody. There's only one Lamar Jackson, and we have to appreciate him while he is here and doing this, because it's not going to last forever. I want it to. I would want nothing more than Lamar to be the quarterback of this team for the next 4 centuries. But we got to appreciate this greatness, man. Don't take it for granted, because we saw Lamar put on the Superman cape yet again. And we have a lot more content coming your way on Kevin and Zach React. Again, first official stream, Orioles off season. So we'll be back. We haven't nailed down a time yet for the weekly Orioles streams, but they are coming. We'll start that up this week, and
they'll be happening. They'll be happening.
We'll let people know, just kind of to do a deep dive.
This week, I think this week's will probably just be like okay, the dust has settled.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, how are we feeling?
Because we can talk about them bringing back Hyde and kind of
like there's still lots that we can discuss there.
Yeah. Also, was there an update in the Mets Phillies game?
Oh, I actually don't know.
6-6, bottom of the 9th.
God, I love baseball.
Nick Castellanos.
No. Oh no, the Phillies.
Castellanos walked it off.
Yep.
Wow. Tough scene, man. Mets come all the way back just for that to happen.
That's a rough one. But yeah, Kevin, perfect timing. Actually, geez, I thought my phone just died.
You paused. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, all of a sudden the phone went black. I was like, oh, no, not right now. But I'm on a ticking time bomb right now. So, Kevin,
Yeah, we'll end it here. We've been going for about 45 minutes. So appreciate everybody for tuning in to Kevin and Zach React again. We go live after every single Orioles and Ravens game. Now, necessarily not a bunch of Orioles games on the horizon. So after every Ravens game, so we'll be doing other content as well. Orioles breakdowns, Orioles live streams in general. But of course, we'll be here for every single Ravens game after it happens, after the conclusion of Locked On Ravens stream. So be sure, check us out, and be sure to subscribe to the Ryan Ripken Show as well. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time, talking Ravens, of course. I mean, how can you not? We're going to be back with Ryan and the gang talking about that game. So be sure to subscribe over there. And we will be back here soon on Kevin and Zach React. Chewies.